Thanks, Sophie. Welcome to Wales Today. I'm Lucy Owen. The headlines. 17-year-old Marcus Staniforth and a 16-year-old boy are both given life sentences for the unprovoked racist murder of Kamran Aman. He was delivering groceries to his mother in Barry when he was stabbed through the heart.
The ripple effect can't be overstated, really, for a daughter, for a wife, for Cameron's wider family, and certainly for the neighbours in this case, who I would really like to acknowledge acted with incredible bravery on the night.
Witnesses say the boys act like a pack of animals. They'll both be locked up until they're in their 30s.
Also tonight, a teacher attacked by a pupil in Carmarthenshire says giving staff handheld scanners won't stop violence in schools.
I was stabbed 5 times by a pupil and feared that I would die. I still don't think it's a good idea.
A 60-year-old man appears in court after a woman in her 80s from Porthcawl was found dead in a freezer.
Hello, in tonight's sport. More than 100 points conceded in the opening 2 games. Can Wales bolster its defence for the arrival of Scotland?
That's something we've definitely spoken about, is not giving ourselves a mountain to climb, you know, after 15, 20 minutes of rugby.
Are there any gay hockey players?
And how the television hit Heated Rivalry, as well as the Winter Olympics, have sparked a new wave of ice hockey fans.
Good evening, Noswaith. 2 teenagers have been detained for life after murdering a stranger in an unprovoked racist attack in Barry last year. The pair, who are now 17 and 16 years old, attacked Kamran Aman after he delivered groceries to his mother's home. The father of one was stabbed through the heart and was subjected to further racist abuse as he lay dying. The 17-year-old Marcus Staniforth was sentenced to 17 years. The second defendant, who we can't name for legal reasons, was sentenced to 15 years. Well, David Grundy joins us now from Cardiff Crown Court. David.
Lucy, the public gallery in courtroom number 8 here at Cardiff Crown Court was completely packed for this sentencing hearing in a case that has impacted so many lives. Kamran Aman lost his wife is now a widow. His mum has lost her cherished son, while his daughter has lost her beloved daddy. 2 teenage boys have also lost their freedom for what the judge described as a deliberate, unprovoked, sustained and violent racist attack.
Hands on your back! Marcus, do it now!
Hands on your back, do it now!
This is the moment police caught one of the teenagers who had minutes earlier killed Kamran Aman. The other was arrested nearby, just a short distance from where Kamran lay bleeding.
The time is 00:13 hours, OK? You're under arrest on suspicion of attempt murder. You don't have to say anything, but it may have an offence if you do not mention one question simply later in court.
At the moment, you're under arrest on suspicion of attempted murder.
They'd murdered a much-loved husband, father, son, brother, uncle and friend. Kamran Aman was a popular and well-liked member of his community. But that night, last June, he was simply dropping off shopping for his mother when he was subjected to a relentless and racist assault. This is Marcus Staniforth, who stabbed him through the heart. For legal reasons, we can't name the 16-year-old who was with him.
The ripple effect can't be overstated, really, for a daughter, for a wife, for Cameron's wider family, and certainly for the neighbours in this case, who I would really like to acknowledge acted with incredible bravery on the night, intervening and trying to save Cameron.
Both boys had been drinking for hours and were still drinking when the younger boy spotted Cameron from an upstairs window. He started hurling punches and racist abuse at Cameron. Staniforth then joined the attack. One witness said the boys were behaving like a pack of animals. Staniforth went back inside, returning just 15 seconds later, armed with a large kitchen knife, which he used to stab Cameron in the heart. As he bled to death, the younger boy bent over Cameron, still shouting racist abuse. Despite the best efforts of paramedics who performed emergency open-heart surgery in the street, Cameron died. Both teenagers fled the scene and tried to cover their tracks. Staniforth washed the knife and his hands with bleach.
In a victim impact statement which she read in court, Aman's wife, Khalila James, said there is a hole in her heart that can never be filled, a pain that will never go away. Without Cameron, she said, we are incomplete. The day he died, a part of us died with him. There is no sentence, she said, that would ever be enough for these two boys for what they've done and the lives they have ruined.
The packed public gallery sat in silence as Khalila James addressed both boys directly. Neither showed any emotion at all as she did so. They kept their heads bowed as she fought back tears.
The judge, Mr. Justice Griffiths, described Staniforth as a very dangerous man indeed. He said, you turned a failing attempt at beating a man into murder and you tried to destroy evidence using bleach. You're exceptionally violent, using exceptional violence for the most trivial of reasons. Turning to the 16-year-old who was sentenced on the basis that he was intent on hurting a man because he was not white, the judge said you instigated a deliberate, unprovoked, sustained and violent racist attack. You were old enough, he said, to know that to cause serious injury in a stranger because of his race was wrong.
So there was considerable representation in court, as you say, from Cameron's family, neighbours, friends, members of the Muslim community who have been relentless really in their support of this process. They are obviously understandably pleased that there's been an outcome today. I don't think any sentence will ever be enough, but they understand and listen very attentively to the judge's comments, and they're just really, really pleased that justice has been served.
This case has been fast-tracked due to the ages of the two boys who murdered Cameron Aman. Both will be in their 30s before they're eligible to be released.
Well, tonight, Marcus Staniforth is starting a 17-year sentence. He'll be 34 before he can be considered for release. The 16-year-old is going to be 31 before he finishes his minimum term of 15 years. We have had a statement tonight from Race Equality First. It says it welcomes the judge's decision to recognise the racial motivation in Cameron Aman's murder. It says that's something that's overlooked far too often by the justice system and doesn't reflect the harm caused. It says cases like this one, where racism is demonstrated to be a feature, should reinforce confidence that it is treated as seriously as it should be by the justice system.
David Grundy at Cardiff Crown Court, thank you. A teacher who was stabbed by a 13-year-old pupil in a Carmarthenshire schoolyard says giving staff handheld scanners won't stop violence in schools. Liz Hopkin, along with a colleague and another pupil, were attacked at Ysgol Dyffryn Aman 2 years ago. Earlier this month, the Welsh Government announced plans for an all-Wales approach on how to deal with weapons in schools. Our education and family correspondent Bethan Lewis reports.
A shocking incident in a secondary school in Ammanford. A teenager had taken a knife into school and attacked 3 people on the yard during break time. The pupil was later found guilty of attempted murder.
You kind of move a little bit forwards, but it's not an experience that you get over.
Earlier this month, a pledge from the Welsh Government to come up with a Wales-wide approach to deal with cases of weapons in schools. But Liz Hopkin, one of the teachers attacked at Ysgol Dyffryn Aman, says the focus is wrong.
This isn't about preventing people bringing knives into school in the first place. This is just about detection. And if by the time you've got the knife in school, you've missed so many opportunities prior to that to stopping that knife coming in the first place.
She doesn't want to see schools taking on extra responsibilities.
You're adding the role of security guard to teachers who are trying to build relationships with young people. And it's mixing those messages. If pupils feel that you are now police and you're now security, you're eroding any kind of trust that they would have in you.
In Cardiff, all schools have been issued with search warrants to use if a weapon's suspected, and head teachers there have welcomed the guidance. But with the Welsh Government saying it'll build on the work done in Cardiff, Liz Hopkin is worried that could mean more schools using scanners.
You know, I've been stabbed. I was stabbed 5 times by a pupil and feared that I would die. I still don't think it's a good idea. I don't want any other member of staff, whether they're a senior leader who's been trained to use a wand, or whether it's a teacher or a dinner lady or a caretaker or anybody that works in school. You know, we're all there to help children I would never, ever suggest to anybody to put themselves at risk to check. You know, that's not your role. We aren't security.
The Welsh Government says its work on weapons is part of a wide range of actions on behaviour. It says new resources are about prevention to help keep all young people and school staff safe. It says any decisions on having scanners would be taken at a local level, and there's no expectation for staff to take on security-related duties. And Cardiff Council says its guidance on weapons doesn't replace law enforcement in an emergency, and it too is taking a preventative approach.
We're not getting the financial support within schools, within external agencies such as youth services, mental health services, all of those supportive services, educational psychology, all of that is being eroded.
Meanwhile, she says after 25 years in education, she could never go back to working in a school.
A man from Cardiff has been given a life sentence for stabbing his wife to death after they separated and she started dating a colleague. Tisera Veragullige from Pentwyn admitted murdering his estranged wife, Neroda Nianhela, outside a flat in Riverside last August. The 38-year-old was sentenced to life in prison at Cardiff Crown Court with a minimum of 23 years.
Neroda was beloved by her family and friends, and her life was ended by her jealous and cowardly former partner. Neroda was in the process of separating from Veragullige, who could not accept that Neroda no longer wanted to be in a relationship with him. He brought knives to the area, which he said were to intimidate her, and then went on to murder her. We will not stand for violence in any form, inclusive of violence against women and girls perpetrated by men, and we will do everything in our power to hold those responsible to account.
4 people accused of covering up a hit and run which left a 5-year-old boy seriously injured have denied perverting the course of justice. 18-year-old Caleb Longhurst has admitted dangerous driving after hitting Arlo Buckley and Shotton in 2024. Also accused are his brother, mother and another man who said they didn't know of his involvement until they were arrested. The trial at Mould Crown Court continues. A man has appeared in court after a woman in her 80s from Porthcawl was found dead in a freezer. 60-year-old Christopher Phillips is charged with preventing a lawful and decent burial. Well, our reporter Sanjana Idnani joins us now from the newsroom. What more can you tell us?
Well, Lucy, police were called to a property on Poplar Crescent in Porthcawl on Tuesday afternoon after concerns were raised about the welfare of an elderly woman. When they arrived at the property, they discovered the body of an 80-year-old woman found in a large freezer. The woman hasn't yet been named. Well, this morning, 60-year-old Christopher Phillips was charged with preventing a lawful and decent burial. He also faces charges of fraud by false representation. Phillips from Porthcawl appeared at Cardiff Magistrates Court this morning, and during a short hearing he spoke only to confirm his name, his date of birth and his address. He was remanded in custody and he is now due to appear at Cardiff Crown Court next month. Well, South Wales Police say its investigations into the woman's death are ongoing. Lucy.
Our reporter Sanjana Idnani, thank you very much. You're watching Wales Today, still to come in the programme.
Are there any gay hockey players?
It's the viral TV series about 2 professional ice hockey players in a secret relationship. How heated rivalry has sparked a rise in fans of the sport.
And we've seen the last of the cold weather for a while. The weekend mild and breezy with yet more rain on the way. But will there be any sunshine? Join me later to find out.
The Defence Secretary has refused to give a timescale on when all the investigations into the Ajax armoured vehicles programme will conclude. Military testing of the machines was paused in November after around 30 soldiers became ill during a military exercise. The machines are built in Merthyr Tydfil by General Dynamics, which employs around 700 people. More now from our political correspondent, Kemlyn Davis.
According to General Dynamics, the Ajax armoured vehicle provides best-in-class protection and reliability, but the £6.3 billion Ajax programme has been beset by problems, with the latest issues reported in November prompting another pause in military testing, as well as several investigations. Although trials are now restarting, the ongoing uncertainty around the project has left politicians representing the workforce in Merthyr Tydfil calling for clarity. On a visit to Cardiff, the Defence Secretary said he was on the case.
I want to get to the bottom of the problems once and for all. I've always said we have to make this project work. We have to back it or scrap it. We're doing that with General Dynamics at the moment. Our task is to work out how we make this safe, how we make this work,
you said
and how
you could scrap it. Is this in jeopardy?
This has been going on a long time. Everybody recognises that. Uncertainty for the workforce, uncertainty also for the forces that we need to operate this new armoured vehicle.
When will these investigations be complete?
We'll complete them just as soon as we can.
General Dynamics said it had confidence in the vehicles and that soldier safety remained the highest priority. In the meantime, the Defence Secretary is now promising more opportunities for defence companies in Wales. He was in Cardiff to announce a £50 million investment by the UK government in the Welsh defence sector, which was welcomed by the First Minister.
So give us an idea of how that £50 million will be spent, when it will be spent, what the timetable is here.
So all of those things will be worked through now, and the thing that we're particularly keen to see is that it is spread across the whole of Wales, but also that small and medium-sized companies get.
The Ministry of Defence says the deal will increase Wales's role in the development of drone technology. They're also promising to establish a new defence college in Wales next year, but where that will be is still up in the air.
Cemlyn Davis with that report. The former Radio Wales presenter Anita Morgan has died at the age of 93.
One of the competitions that we're going to have is for the best talking bird in Wales. As you may hear, I've got one in the studio.
She was the first to broadcast on the station when it launched in November 1978, hosting AM, the station's first breakfast show. Anita Morgan went on to present and produce radio programmes for more than 40 years. Head of BBC Radio Wales, Carolyn Hitt, paid tribute to her, saying she set the tone for the station and leaves a wonderful legacy. To the sport now, and it is 4 years since Wales last won a Six Nations match at home. Thomas is here.
Hi, Lucy. Yeah, the Scotland game seemed winnable before the tournament, but two heavy defeats in which Wales have conceded 15 tries and more than 100 points has only added to the sense of dread. Defence has been a major area of concern, and Captain Derry Lake says the team has spoken about not conceding early tries again this weekend.
7 tries for England.
The disappointment has been clear. From the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham to the Principality Stadium. In both games, conceding early tries has been a problem. Wales playing catch-up.
Something we've definitely spoken about is not giving ourselves a mountain to climb, after 15, 20 minutes of rugby, because we are a group that will fight and will battle back, but we don't want to have to do that. We don't want to give ourselves that battle, that mountain to climb.
Amid the gloom, keeping morale high, crucial, according to Lewis Rees-Zammit. He's already played in 3 Six Nations, a World Cup, and toured with the British and Irish Lions. At 25, he's one of the most experienced players in the squad.
2 tough weeks, but the second you kind of put your head down, it kind of crumbles. So I think everyone's kind of heads held high, and we got a job again this weekend. It's obviously been a tough couple of years for Welsh rugby, but we're trying to do everything we can to kind of get fans off their chairs and play exciting rugby. It obviously doesn't happen overnight, so we're working really hard behind the scenes to make that work. But yeah, it will come. It's just, as I said, it's not going to happen overnight.
There is a long and miserable list of stats that I could use to help describe Welsh rugby at the moment. Of their last 25 test matches, they have lost 23 of them. They haven't won a match in the Six Nations for 3 years, picking up 2 wooden spoons along the way. But it's worth remembering Scotland's record here isn't great. They've won just twice in Cardiff this century, and their campaign in the Six Nations so far this season, up and down. In sodden conditions, Scotland struggled in Rome and were defeated by Italy in the opening round before they raised their game to win the Calcutta Cup. There are 5 changes from the side that beat England. The hope is recalled players will have added motivation to impress.
It is always tough backing up an emotional performance like a Calcutta Cup game is, but in order for us to stay in this tournament, we've got to be just as desperate, just as emotional, just as clinical as we were last week, and that's how we've prepared this week.
Scotland are desperate to prove last week wasn't a one-off. Wales, meanwhile, hoping to stop the slide. Cardiff City has been charged by the Football Association after the club's fans allegedly aimed homophobic chants at Chelsea. The Premier League side beat the Bluebirds in the EFL Cup quarter-final in December. The club says it has responded to the FA and that no form of discrimination is tolerated. To the Winter Olympics next, where Adele Nicol has been competing in the 2-woman bobsleigh. To ice hockey and a huge game tonight. Cardiff Devils up against Belfast Giants in a top-of-the-table encounter. It comes amid a surge of interest in the sport, driven by the Winter Olympics and the television drama Heated Rivalry, which follows 2 male hockey stars in a secret relationship. It's been bringing new fans to the game, as Amelia Belly has been finding out.
Are there any gay hockey players?
None that have said it publicly.
Clashes on the ice and hidden romance off it. Heated Rivalry tackles some of sport's biggest taboos. The smash hit charts the relationship between ice hockey players Canadian Shane Hollander and Russian Ilya Rozanov in a sport, like many others, with vanishingly few openly gay or bisexual players. In the process, it's attracted first-time fans to the ice. And while professional players at Cardiff's Vindico Arena haven't watched it yet, it's prompted conversation here too.
The more the sport is inclusive, the better it's going to be and the healthier it's going to be going forward. Like I say, whether that's from the LGBTQ community or whether that's from a female perspective. I mean, I got a daughter now, she wants to play, you don't want her to feel like she can't play, do you know what I mean? And that should be the same within no matter what sport it is.
I hope that the show has encouraged them to, you know, at least if you don't want to try playing hockey, like I said, come to a game, because, you know, not just our team, but around the league and around the world, you know, many organizations are trying to show that hockey is for everybody.
As one of the UK's top teams, Cardiff Devils games already sell out. But in recent weeks, with Heated Rivalry and the Olympics, they've noticed a burst of interest in a sport that's already been growing.
You look across the whole league right now, and every team would be saying the same thing. Like Sheffield, for example, the Sheffield Steelers, they're the biggest club in the league. They have, I think their arena holds just over 9,000 people. They wish it was 11,000. Ours is 3,100, wishes ours was 5 or 6. People ask me this all the time. How do you capitalize on the interest? Or we can't sell any more tickets. You know, like I wish we could.
Instead, audiences are skating to the lower leagues. Cardiff Canucks recently posted record attendance figures, while Cardiff Fire's most recent match, also a Pride night, saw bumper audiences too. Its manager, who's also a Devils photographer and a proudly gay man, says part of that was take-up from LGBTQ clubs.
We had probably our biggest attendance for a Fire game in quite a few years. Some people had been before, some people it was their first time. But I did see comments from people where they had seen Heated Rivalry, they didn't know much about hockey, and then it came down for their first time.
There's also hope that the influx of new fans and the conversation sparked by Heated Rivalry can create further change. It's a sport that, in the male professional leagues globally, has at times been criticised for a macho culture and homophobia. Cardiff Devils have helped pave the way. They were the first side in the UK and say possibly the world to introduce an annual Pride night in 2017. The atmosphere here has been a big draw for die-hard Devils fan Emily Garside.
In the UK, we are really active in our Pride nights for fans. We're really inclusive as a community, but there's still a really long way to go. You know, statistically, there are probably players in the closet still who are afraid to be open about their sexuality. But also we've got junior hockey players coming up through the ranks who we'd really love to be able to just be who they are and play as they move into the professional game. And I think this is a great stepping stone to open up all those conversations, but it doesn't quite reflect the reality of the game just yet.
Tonight, this rink will be full of fans hoping to win against rivals Belfast Giants. Those without tickets can watch the Olympic showdown between the USA and Canada on the weekend, the latest dramas in a sport scoring audiences on and off the ice.
Emilia Belli with that report. Let's get the weather forecast for Wales now. Rain on the way, loads of it. Derek's here. Hiya.
Yes, Thomas, there is more rain in the forecast this weekend, some drizzle as well. But we have seen the last of the cold weather for a while with a mild and breezy weekend. And it's not all doom and gloom because Sunday will be drier and brighter with a little sunshine. Now back to today, and it's been mostly cloudy in Abercynon with some rain there. And we can see that rain quite nicely on the radar sequence spreading its way eastwards with some heavy and thundery showers. However, it did dry and brighten up in Carnarvon in Gwynedd this afternoon with some sunshine there and a high of 10 Celsius. Now, at the moment, most of the country dry, but it's not set to last. A warm front will move eastwards, bringing another spell of rain, turning drier later in the night, staying mild and breezy, the lowest temperature 8 to 10 Celsius. And then tomorrow, Atlantic weather fronts will move eastwards across the UK with these moist and mild southwesterly winds. So tomorrow morning, not too bad for a while, dry, bright in parts of the north and east. But those weather fronts will bring outbreaks of rain spreading eastwards. Some heavy bursts of rain too, especially on the hills and mountains, the cloud lowering with mist and hill fog. And temperatures rising above average, 11 to 13 Celsius with those southwesterly winds. So if you're heading to Cardiff for the rugby tomorrow afternoon, expect some rain, the temperature around 11 or 12 Celsius. And then tomorrow evening and overnight, further outbreaks of rain, breezy too, but the rain will clear later in the night. And again, it will be a mild night, lowest temperature around 9 to 11 Celsius. Now, some good news for Sunday. It will be a better day, drier and brightening up with sunny intervals, just 1 or 2 scattered showers. And again, temperatures above the seasonal norm, 11 to 13 Celsius. That's the low to mid-50s Fahrenheit with a moderate to fresh west to southwesterly breeze. Next week, in a word, changeable. There will be more rain on Monday, turning drier for a time on Tuesday. And just look at those temperatures, well above average, 13, 14 Celsius, maybe 15 degrees in Wrexham on Wednesday. That's nearly 60 Fahrenheit. So here's the summary then for the weekend. Mild and breezy. There will be further rain and drizzle at times, but not a washout. Sunday, the better day of the weekend. Drier and brighter. Lucy.
As you say, not all doom and gloom. Derek, thank you so much. That's Wales Today. We'll be back with the latest for you right after the BBC News at 10. But for now, from all of us on the programme, enjoy your Friday evening. Have a great weekend. Hwyl fawr.